All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most fundamental stories in all of biology. I mean, this is basically the story of life itself. How does the code written in your DNA actually become, well, you? Seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. You, me, every living thing, we all started as just one single cell. So how on earth does that one cell know what to do? How does it know how to become a brain cell, or a muscle cell, or even a skin cell? Where's the instruction manual? And, how does the cell actually read it?
Well, the answer is it's this incredibly elegant and super precise two-step process. Think of it like a high-tech information relay or a tiny molecular assembly line. It takes that genetic blueprint and turns it into an actual working machine. So let's dive in and see how this amazing process, called the central dogma, really works.
Okay, so at the very heart of all this is an idea called the central dogma of molecular biology. Now, the best way to think about it is this. Imagine your DNA is this massive, priceless, one-of-a-kind master blueprint for an entire city, and it's locked away in a secure vault. You'd never, ever take that original blueprint out to a muddy construction site, right? Of course not. You'd make a copy, and guess what? That's exactly what your cells are doing all the time.
So that first step, making the copy, is called transcription. This is where the cell zooms in on one specific gene it needs and makes a handy, portable copy of it. It's literally like going into that secure library, finding the one page you need in a giant ancient book that can't leave, and making a photocopy. That photocopy, that's our messenger RNA, or what we call mRNA for short.
Okay, so we've got our photocopy, the mRNA. Now what? Well, that brings us to step 2, translation. This is where that photocopy gets taken to the workshop. The cell's machinery reads the instructions on that mRNA and uses them to build something real and functional. It's like a factory floor following the blueprint to assemble a complex machine part by part. And in this case, those parts are called amino acids, and the finished machine is a protein.
All right, let's zoom in on that first part, transcription. How does the cell even find the right gene to copy in the first place, out of millions of options, and then make a flawless copy?
Now, take a look at this. This image gives us a fantastic bird's-eye view of the whole transcription process. You can see the famous DNA double helix getting unwound, that big molecular machine doing the work, and the new little RNA strand peeling off. It looks like a lot's going on, for sure, but we can actually break it down into 3 simple phases.
And here they are. You've got initiation, which is where it all kicks off, then elongation, where the actual copy is being made, and finally, termination, where the process comes to a neat stop. Let's walk through each one.
Initiation is the starting gun. An amazing enzyme called RNA polymerase, that's our high-tech photocopier, finds and latches onto a specific start here signal on the DNA. That signal is called a promoter, and it makes sure the polymerase only copies the gene that's actually needed right then.
Next up, elongation. Once it's locked on, the RNA polymerase just starts chugging along the DNA strand, unwinding the double helix as it goes. While it reads one side of the DNA, it builds a matching or complementary strand of RNA, adding one building block at a time. It's like a little zipper moving down a track, creating a perfect new chain as it goes.
And finally, we get to termination. The polymerase zips along until it hits a stop sign on the DNA, which is called a terminator sequence. That's the signal to hit the brakes. The enzyme lets go of the DNA, and the freshly made mRNA photocopy is set free, ready for the next stage.
But hold on a second. The photocopier isn't quite ready for the factory floor just yet. See, especially in complex cells, like the ones that make up you and me, that first draft of the message is a little, well, rough. It needs some editing before it's sent out.
So this first draft, which we call pre-mRNA, is a bit messy. It contains the sections that actually have the instructions. Those are called exons. But it's also got these other non-coding sections mixed in called introns. You can think of introns as just gibberish or maybe extra editor's notes that need to be cut out before the final version.
And this shows that editing process perfectly. The cell's machinery snips out all those junk introns and then stitches the important exons together into one continuous message. Then it adds a special protective cap to the front and a long tail of A's to the back. These additions are super important. They keep the message from getting destroyed and act like a shipping label, making sure it gets out of the nucleus and to the right workshop.
Okay, our perfectly edited, protected mRNA message has finally arrived at the workshop. Now it is time for the final and frankly incredible step, translation. This is where we actually build the protein. Now, the workshop itself is a molecular machine called a ribosome. And you can think of it as the cell's own 3D printer, or maybe a highly automated construction site. Its one job is to read our mRNA blueprint and start assembling that protein.
So a ribosome actually comes in two pieces, a small part and a large part. The small subunit is the first to grab onto the mRNA message. Then the large subunit comes and locks on top. When they come together, they create this perfect little workspace with three key docking bays, the A, P, and E sites. And this is where the real construction magic happens.
The whole building process works in a really cool cycle. First, a special molecule called a transfer RNA, or tRNA, shows up. Each tRNA is like a tiny little delivery truck that's carrying one specific type of amino acid, our protein building block. It pulls into the A site, which you can think of as the arrival dock. Then comes the crucial moment. The ribosome forges a strong bond, attaching the newly delivered amino acid to the growing protein chain. That chain is being held in the middle P site for processing. And just like that, the chain is one amino acid longer.
And then the whole ribosome shuffles one step down the mRNA strand. The now empty tRNA that was in the P site moves to the E, or exit site, and gets released. Meanwhile, the tRNA holding our growing protein moves into that middle P site. This leaves the A site wide open, ready for the next delivery truck to pull in. This cycle just repeats over and over and over.
This continues, adding amino acid after amino acid until the ribosome hits a stop codon in the mRNA sequence. Now, there's no tRNA delivery truck for this signal. Instead, a special protein called a release factor shows up and binds in the A site. This is like the foreman calling it a day. It causes the whole complex to fall apart, releasing the brand new, fully assembled protein.
So, we've gone from a blueprint locked in the DNA all the way to a finished functional protein. But so what? Why is this tiny microscopic process so unbelievably important?
Well, this two-step dance is literally how a single cell can give rise to something as complex as a human eye or a beating heart. The proteins that get built are the ultimate doers in our body. They're the enzymes, the structures, the signals. Think about hemoglobin, carrying oxygen, or antibodies, fighting off infections. By controlling exactly which genes get turned into which proteins, a cell defines what it is and what it does. This whole process is the core mechanism that turns the potential stored in your genes into your physical reality. And get this entire intricate molecular ballet is happening in your body right now, trillions upon trillions of times every single second. It is a system of absolutely breathtaking precision. Which leaves us with a final and pretty critical question. What happens when even one small step in this perfect process goes wrong?